Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. It's Kit Kit. Please don't forget to put like, share, and subscribe. I hope you enjoy, and let's start the show.
Gods. Look. Are we back in Dawnshore? Already?
This is Sapadal's doing. I'm certain of it. No power in Aora could transport us so quickly, or so far. What happened to the living land started long ago, and we're going to finish it.
Are you seeing this? I don't think parodies look like this when we left it.
Looks like the war already started, and the giant roots are winning.
Marius, vines don't usually get that big this quickly, do they?
Based on their growth and size, I'd say we've been gone 2 or 3 weeks.
Hey, at least you didn't let 6 years go by.
Who knows if the garden affected time, or merely our perception of time? Assuming there's even a difference.
It's like how a body fights an infection. The fever gives you strange dreams that feel like an eternity.
Look at this place. It feels like we're still in the dream. And not just us. Those are more your people's ships in the harbor, and steel Garrote banners past the barricades. That can't be good.
Even Reingrim is here. Perhaps we get to see an Archmage in action.
I think I see Elia as well. What a strange reunion this will be.
The Blessed Wardens are here too. That conflict we've been trying so hard to prevent started without us.
Right behind you.
The Steel Garrote have been itching for a fight this whole time. This would have happened with or without us.
Before we go, what happened back there with the Dream Scourge and Sapadal?
I'm not sure. That's good, right?
It's a relief that the Dream Scourge won't be a problem. I only hope we can say the same about Sapadal. Time will tell, I suppose.
After all this time, they're free. And the living land is free to heal.
We've cured the land, and we've even freed a caged god. All in all, rather a successful day.
Kith and God entwine. The flower shades the soil in which it grows.
We should take a look. See if we can get ahead of whatever storm is brewing down there.
People seem to be gathering west of here. Whatever's happening, let's be a part of it.
Sansa.
They marched in with no warning. I couldn't think. I just ran.
Everything your people have done. You...
Envoy? Is it really you? Mihala told us you went into some place called the Garden to seek a god?
When you didn't return, we took you for dead.
Did you meet your god there? The one whose marks you bear?
The origin of the Dream Scourge? It was the act of a god this whole time?
Everyone, please, please. We could get to the bottom of this if you would only let them speak. It's been weeks, Envoy.
What happened? Finally, a ray of sunlight shines through the storm cloud.
I will not grovel at the envoy's feet for solving a plague I am not convinced was real.
If you wardens ever bothered to pull your heads out of your asses, you wouldn't take such pride in your ignorance.
You know nothing of me or my people, you fucking pirate!
Warden Commander, look around you. Is this really the time?
Giata nearly had me convinced the Dream Scourge was some infection of essence. How could you stop such a thing, Envoy?
Sapadal was responsible for the Dream Scourge. Their rage, their confusion, their fear.
But the plague isn't over. Dream Thrall still litter Shatterscarp.
There won't be any new infections. We've put a stop to that for good. Unfortunately, there's little we can do for those already in the grip of the Dream Scourge. We can give them comfort, nothing more. This will be a process. The Dream Scourge was never going to simply go away overnight.
I suppose it stands to reason. I found that a quick fix is often anything but. What of this god, then? What does it mean that you freed them? Ludwig had intimated that this land grew a new god. But how can that be?
The gods are the gods. They are the foundation upon which our world is built. You can no more build a new god than you can create a new world. The very notion is preposterous.
Preposterous or not, it's happened. The Godless yearned to build something new, and over hundreds of years, they did. A god. I suspect this god of theirs, Sapadal, was created from Echidan souls. Wodka no doubt saw Sapadal as a threat to her authority, so she killed the Godless and imprisoned their god.
I assume it is this god we have to thank for the roots tearing apart Paradise? They erupted from the earth the moment those bastards stood up their first siege tower.
We were no stranger to them in Fior Mesiverno. They harrowed our fields, tore our homes in half.
We saw similar destruction at Nakuku Bell. If these roots and the Dream Scourge are the work of a god, and the gods thought it best to imprison this god, how could you let such a creature go free?
I suppose we can only pray you've made the right one.
First he still Garot, now a rogue god. Is there no place safe from turmoil in all the living lands?
Sapadal's power ravaged my people. I don't know that I can ever trust it.
Keeping watch over Sapadal was a sacred task Nandru gave us when he left. For that reason alone, my wardens owe them their allegiance.
Well, whatever happens, I suppose we can't put the godling back in the bottle now.
But come, we have more pressing matters to attend to. The Steel Garrote have attacked Paradise. Inquisitor Ludwig has already joined the battle. She must have traveled like the wind to get here so fast.
You did. I kicked her corpse when you weren't looking. Just to be sure.
Well, she's seen better days, but you wouldn't know it judging by how she fights.
Ludwig's plowed through the militia like a knife through warm butter.
All right, let's keep the similes to ourselves.
Regrettably, she's not in the business of making exceptions for people she deems Oathbreaker. So long as her passion for Wodka lives, so too will her spirit.
Then we destroy her faith, and the rest of her will follow. I have a theory about this. Let's talk at camp if you want to hear it. But I think we can kill her.
Oh, good. That will be easy.
It is not, I think, impossible. Well, you might not believe me, but I didn't want any of this to happen. It was Ludwig who called for the attack.
I didn't hear an answer, Ambassador.
She and her Steel Garrote laid siege to the city, shortly after you beat her to the garden. Well, that's been a point of debate. We can't agree on how to stand against the Steel Garrote, nor who should lead the effort.
Nobody wants to risk their people at the front.
So you let the Paradise militia go it alone?
Even if our meager forces should make it inside,
The siege won't end until Ludwig does. And none of you know how to kill her.
precisely.
The Steel Garrote broke through several days ago. As far as we can tell, Central Paradise has been completely overrun. What citizens still live are no doubt in hiding, including many of my people.
You couldn't have known this would happen. Don't take the guilt of the Steel Garrote upon yourself.
Some Paradisans got out, but we expect hundreds have been killed.
We brought as many Hale and Abel from Thirdborn as would come. But after the Dream Scourge and our losses from Nakukubel, we could spare so few. I worry it won't be enough.
Likewise, my wardens are still reeling from effects of the eruption. The keep was saved, but there is much to repair, particularly if we are to endure a siege. Most of my men remain at the keep. I can't risk them against the Steel Garrote for the sake of Paradis, not when we are so few.
The lawful settlement of a new Adiran colony, supposedly. Or the establishment of a Woedican state. She could win with a godlike in her ranks. Your presence would serve as a powerful endorsement. She doesn't believe we're here to quell dissent. She's growing the Empire, whether it wants that or not. Remember, she has an obligation to Woedica, a solemn oath. And neither the Steel Garrote nor the Queen that was look kindly upon oathbreakers.
Because a victory here would discourage resistance elsewhere. The better question is, why didn't you stop her?
Excuse me? She's a 7-foot-tall skeleton powered by her devotion to the goddess of retribution. This isn't my fault.
Sure. Just blame the dead woman. Very mature.
Who else should I blame exactly? Our envoy, perhaps? For not stopping Ludwine and the Tusks?
You could start with blaming your own incompetence.
Ludwine's the muscle. I'm merely the personality. What was I supposed to do? Frown her into submission?
What good are you as a diplomat if you can't even keep your own beast under control?
The Inquisitor was so convinced the Living Lands would unite against Adir that she's nearly made it true. One people, one law, one true God. That's Ludwine's vision for the Living Lands.
What passes between Ludwine and her men, or between Ludwine and the Emperor, for that matter, is not my affair. But if I had to guess, this was the alternative.
Oh, I can't wait to see how you weasel out of this one.
I know it will. We are leading by example, returning order and dignity to Paradis in the wake of the Clavager's death. We will do the same to the frontier, given the chance.
Where was order and dignity when you burned Fior Messiverno?
My administration had nothing to do with that, as I know you know. Adiran rule and rule by the Steel Garrote would be markedly different beasts.
Spoken like a fucking diplomat. Splitting hairs when it all comes from the same head.
Order and dignity. That's what you think we're missing? Bastards! All of you!
Isn't Paradis, its port, its trade, enough for you?
The Inquisitor answers only to Woedica. In attacking Paradis, she has dragged us all far beyond the bounds of the Emperor's desires. Ludwine agrees. Our success would model the order and dignity of the Steel Garrote, for whatever that's worth.
You can say what you want, but you're still trying to subjugate us.
You think I'll ignore what I've seen with my own eyes? The Empire has brought us nothing but chaos and suffering.
When I think dignity, I think of the people who attacked Fior Messiverno unprovoked.
I've answered your questions. Now I would like you, all of you, to answer mine. Ludwine has sent a message to the Emperor informing him of her attack. He will send advisors and reinforcements swiftly in response. What will his representatives find when they arrive? A new colony? A budding grave room? Before you face Ludwine, you should know what you're fighting for. All of you must decide, together. But whatever you decide, understand, the days of the frontier are done. Adir will come. Indeed, we are already here. Well, don't leave me in suspense. A fine compromise.
The people of Fjord will accept a grave robber.
So long as my wardens are left in peace, we will endure a grave rum.
To brisk trade. A docile Shatterscarp and a grave rum.
I do not trust your empire to show restraint in its control of the living lands. Gods help us.
We can worry about the future when it comes. This at least gives us the backing to survive and rebuild.
Right. Might as well go ahead and start designing those rebel flags sooner rather than later.
Good. We'll have perhaps a whole week of peace before the yoke starts chafing.
I will do my level best to convince the Emperor to accept a grave room. That leaves the matter of Ludwine and the Steel Garrote. She will never surrender, Envoy. You must kill her, or we will lose Paradis, and eventually the island.
Whatever happens to the living lands, at least I can kill Ludwine. I'll take that over nothing.
She better say her goodbyes while she can.
I'm proud to fight at your side, Envoy. One last time.
Let's get to work then. We've got a walking corpse to bury.
The Paradis militia will be at your back. Give her no quarter. The future waits for you.
You're more than worth it. Now go. No doubt the Inquisitor grows impatient for the hunt.
Show them that the living lands will not be broken across Vodka's knee.
Gather your forces and secure the eastern gate. From there, take back the main plaza. I have faith in you. Gods be with you, Envoy.
Let's take back the city. Whatever happens tomorrow, the Steel Garrote can only make it worse.
Let's go free a city, shall we?
Not bad for a noble.
We're under attack! We've got company.
There's fighting ahead. Everybody all right?
You asked for it. Did that even hurt them?
Send him to the wheel. Don't worry about the eastern gate. I'll protect.
We were never going to go quietly, were we?
Protect the envoy.
We've got company!
right there. I'll teach you.
Envoy over here. What exactly do you think you're doing? You nearly died in my clinic. Correction, you did die. And now look at you, fighting the Steel Garrote. What have you got to say for yourself? Well, at least you're alive. Try and keep it that way. We're patching up folks as best we can, but I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. War is a damn bloody mess. I hope you're right, Envoy. I can't say I approve of you leaping into the fray, but it's always nice catching up with a former patient. Wait a second. Jada? Jada Castell? What are you doing in the middle of this?
Surviving. It's good to see you, Liviana. Unfortunately, we're on a tight schedule. Do you need anything? Money? Supplies?
Once this is over, I could always use another pair of hands at the clinic. The invitation's still open.
As you're always quick to remind me, but I must consider my options. I hope that isn't a problem.
Take all the time you need. The clinic isn't going anywhere. Gods be with you, Envoy. For my sake, try not to die a second time.
Come on. You know this. You practiced with Uncle Capo 100 times. Tight? Not too tight. You don't want to cut off the blood flow.
Let her demand your submission. Stand against her and fall.
Let's pay Ludwig one final visit, shall we? Let's make sure she stays dead this time, all right, dearie?
There you are. So, you survived the garden. Did you come all this way just to try your luck again? To kill me more efficiently than last time? Our conflict was foretold the moment you were born. You can no more avoid it than I can die. Look around, Envoy. Heelguard should have listened. He tried to bring order through compromise. He failed. Order is meant to be imposed by a stern, guiding hand.
Her order wields sharp steel. She must set down her blade.
Heelguard is a fool if he thinks half measures will save the island. When this is over, I'll instruct him, personally.
I won't weep for Heelguard.
As for you, Sapadal's chains are broken, which means your soul is in their grasp. I don't know how deeply you've been compromised, Envoy. And if I don't know, then I cannot suffer you to live. That's what they want you to think. Steel yourself, Envoy. Make this a fight to remember, even in death.
We would not welcome her death. There is still ample shade for her beneath our tree.
And this time, we'll finish the job. You really believe you can kill me? Do it then. Kill me as no one ever has. Hold nothing back. Give it your all and destroy me. There's no coming back this time. Prepare yourself for the next world.
You won't be missed, Ludwig.
Once I'm done killing you, your god play.
We are every seed in the soil. We will always grow.
Come on!
Whoa! Queen among queens! Send me your aid!
Even Wodica is done with you, Ludwig.
Wherever Ludwine is now, she must be seething.
Of course, we'd be happy to kill her again, if needed.
She's done for, but we're not. Whatever's next, we'll face it. Together.
Guys, you're all gonna make me sick. But carry on.
Unraveled at last. We no longer feel her wire against our flesh. We are free always. We are free forever.
Silence falls over Paradis, as though the city is holding its breath. Then you hear it, the ringing of a distant bell, the waving of banners, and cheers of victory. After a short and bloody conflict, the dust has finally begun to settle. You feel Sapadal close to your thoughts, stirring with interest. The god of the living lands is observing this moment, unfettered by confusion or fear. For the first time in centuries, they understand. The Paradis militia rallies to you, the outsider who defended them in their hour of need. Whatever happens next, you have won their confidence. You take a moment to reflect on the calm. Not so long ago, you arrived at these shores on a simple errand, which turned out to be anything but simple. The Dream Scourge is over, and the island has been cleansed of plague. A time of healing and mourning follows. People look to you for answers about the source of the affliction. You tell them the truth, how the plague came from a power beyond mortal understanding, and how it is finally at peace. With your guidance, the Living Lands becomes a vassal of the Adiran Empire. In exchange for their taxes and soldiers, the free settlements are protected from future attacks. The fight for survival is over. You showed the rebels of Paradis mercy, but they can never trust the Empire. Instead, they keep to the wilderness, always 2 steps ahead of Adir, only attacking when provoked. That is as close as they come to peace. The refugees of Emerald Stair find a cold welcome in the city of Paradis. Animancy is frowned upon, but their knowledge of agriculture is highly valued. The first bountiful harvest improves relations. The ashes of Fior Messiverno continue to smolder. Scavengers avoid the ruins, fearful of spirits unleashed by animancy gone awry. The once promising city is nothing but a cautionary tale. Though Adir has promised that the Living Lands will retain their autonomy, not everyone in Shatterscarp trusts the Empire. But many Adiran ships sail into the Grave Room's ports, bearing fine linens and aged wines. These ease the painful memory of the day Reamgrim culled their people. After the Living Lands is declared a vassal of Adir, Solace Keep reluctantly opens the doors of its fortress, though not before numerous missives are sent to Mihala demanding the Grave Room be honored. Her reluctance costs the dwarves. The Pargrunen are never favored in trade negotiations, and are the last to be supplied by Adiran caravans. But the Wardens have rounder bellies than anyone can remember. When Kai returns to Thirdborn, he's no longer running. He finds a town that's been diminished by struggle, conflict, and tragedy. He finds home. He helps repair Thirdborn's walls and train its defenders, carrying on Tama's legacy. And while his labors do not restore all that was lost, they build something new. With his travels alongside the envoy complete, Marius is left directionless once again. Rather than disappearing into his cups, however, Marius leans on his time among his companions to give him the strength to re-enter society and find comfort in civilization. He establishes a route between Paradis and Thirdborn, guiding travelers between the two in return for money and supplies. And while he has a reputation for being aloof,
He joins the campfires from time to time, sharing stories of his time with the envoy that most travelers believe are completely made up. Giada learned much in your time together. How to stand up to authority, how to face the unknown, and how to move on from the past. But her family's unfinished work weighs heavily on her soul. Her inheritance is the burden of achieving the impossible. Such is the life of an animancer. At least now she has the right tools for the job, and new friends to help her through hard times. No longer under the threat of imminent death, Yardsley returns to the Animancers. Reunited with her beloved Quilici, she helps him and the Animancers as they put their lives together after the attack on Fior Messiverno. Eventually, she even has something nice to say to Vidaro. As the days pass in contentment and relative peace, Yardsley is struck by the persistent feeling that something is missing. Though she still devotes herself to her studies of both the arcane and the godless, the restlessness never goes away. Freed from torment for the first time in centuries, Sopadal turns their prodigious curiosity to the people that shaped them. They observe the ways their people live, and they think deeply about what they see. Though they flinch away from moments of violence, and they grieve souls returned to them too soon, the rage that once shook cities to rubble no longer rules them. Instead, they come to you with questions. They want to understand. After a time, they begin, tentatively, to garden. Where they can, they improve the lives of Kith, and the suffering that troubled them is reduced, if never fully eradicated. Their grief compels them to love, and they love unreservedly, with the power of a god. Sopadal pours a fragment of their power into the statue they claimed from the temple of Aethys. Newly embodied, they roam the living lands and learn to experience the world as Kith do. Their first attempts at locomotion are clumsy, and a stand of innocent trees is violently returned to the wheel. But as their confidence grows, so does their grace. Soon, they are bounding across the plains of eastern Dawnshore, leaping the river gorge in Emerald Stair, scaling the shark's teeth of Shatterscarp, and fearlessly wading into the Tusk's acid sea. When they break, they come to you to put them back together, and in time, they learn to fix themselves. They wander far afield. You see less of them, but they are never far from your thoughts, and on the rare occasion they return, they always bring you something beautiful and strange. The sounds of celebration pull you out of reverie. Many are waiting to greet you with open arms. You take a moment to catch your breath and savor it, because everything is about to change.